Howdy y'all, welcome to my channel. Today I will be showing you how I created this fun card and exactly why does it have these pull and push little tabbies and whatnot. Also, we get to use these fun dewdrops by the Robin's Nest to help create these spooky ooky eyes. So set a spell, kick your shoes off, and let's begin this video. So we are going to take this black cardstock piece, which is cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and some die cuts, and we're going to actually partially die cut. Now these places where I have post-its, that's where I'm actually going to do the partial die cutting. So here's the thing about doing some partial die cutting. You need to put a demarcation spot so that you know, okay, I don't cut past this line, which is why we're going to grab some washi tape and we're going to place that down right here, so that we can now die cut this piece up until we get into that area. We also have 2 other die cuts that we're going to use, but it's best if you just do one partial die cutting at a time rather than trying to do more than one. So what we're going to do to help keep this in such a way that we can use the angle, I'm going to try to angle the cardstock onto my cutting mat. And I'm going to bring in this washi tape to hold it in place. Also, when you do partial die cutting, only cover the area that you know for sure is going to be cut, rather than putting the second plate on top of the whole piece. Now our oval is partially die cut in an angled format, like so. And we just need to repeat the process a couple more times. So I'm going to place the second one right here. Again, doing some partial die cutting. We now have our second partially die cutted piece. And because I'm going to have to trim all of the areas where the partial die cutting is done, I'm just going to wait until we're completely done with our partial die cutting before I begin that process. Now we have all these partially die cut areas, but we're not done. We're going to our next step. We will now take this cutting mat and our knife, and we will complete the cut for our eyelids. But the best way to do that is to bring in a ruler to help you out, so that way you don't cut in an area you really didn't mean to. There you go. And you just repeat that process until you've got all of your partially die cut pieces cut out of your cardstock. There you go. Remember to keep a watch for your lid of your little knife, and we can bring our marker back in to help hide the white. Now this is only important if you are using a cardstock that is a white core base, which I am. So now we have this piece that is, well, it has little areas where we're going to make it appear more like eyeballs. We're going to bring in this green pattern paper, and we're going to, because we're going to use some black dewdrops to be our little beady eyes. So right now we're just taking our Barely Art glue and our jewel picker and placing some black dewdrops onto this panel that's going to be sitting behind our card front. So you just put a little dollop, grab a little black dewdrop and glue. So I don't know about you, but I think these are starting to look a lot like little spooky eyes, which is just perfect for Halloween, right? And although this glue is white, it does dry clear, so you don't need to worry if your eyes are have a little bit of white space around them right now. So right now what we need to do is we need to stamp our little sentiment right here to complete our card front. So what we're going to do is we're going to stamp our sentiment on the front of our card. We just need to hold the cardstock in place, which is why our stamping platform is the perfect tool. We're going to take some white ink to stamp our sentiment onto our card front, and we will be bringing in some white embossing powder. And since we're going to heat emboss, I'm going to bring in our powder tool. Going to place our microfiber cloth on our hand and just kind of smooth over the stamping so we get a nice even pressure. And there is our sentiment, but I'm going to stamp it one more time because I want to be sure that we have enough ink for our embossing powder to hold on to. There, that looks much better. Now we're going to place our embossing powder over our ink. Now we're just going to heat this up with our Wagner embossing gun. And we can buff the embossing powder off of the black cardstock by just using our microfiber cloth. We are going to use some Easy Lights from Pear Blossom Press. So I have laid out where our lights will be once our switch is turned on. And now, because this is in a constant state of being on, so you can easily just push the button and turn your lights on, we are going to take a piece of cardstock and we are going to cut it out in the shape of a long T. So we need our paper trimmer to help us out. We're going to use some washi tape to help us cut this paper so it doesn't shift on us while we are cutting it. Okay, so we are going to create a T. You can just bring your scissors in to help you finish that off to cut your T. You can also do it from the other side. That's what we're going to do right now. Trim it from this side as well. The purpose of this T that we just cut is to do this. Place your paper underneath your battery. You don't glue it down. You just place it under your battery. And it makes it so your lights don't light up. This way you can send it out in the mail. And you just flip your little top of your T over onto your card front, and then you can just write pull, and then that way your recipient will know that they can pull this little piece out, and it will now make it so that their card will light up. So if we pull this little T out, it lights up again. Now we need to build up our area right here with our foam tape, because we don't want anything bad to happen to our battery that controls these lights, and we don't want anything bad to happen to the lights either. So the important thing when you're working with these lights is this: you don't place your foam tape on the lights, like on top of the lights, because that could break your lights, and it will make it so that even if they did light up, you probably wouldn't be able to see them. We're just going to take some scissors and our foam tape, and we are going to layer this up onto our card base so that we are sure that our battery and our lights are perfectly safe, and when we're ready for them to light up, they will. Now we don't glue this T, we just leave some room for it to maneuver. Now we also need to place the foam tape on the inside of our card base, but we're going to avoid our lights. Now we are finally ready to remove this last layer of foam tape. So now we're going to grab a stamping platform to help us out with positioning. So we are going to butt our card up right here so that, yeah, it's pretty thick card. I don't know if you'd want to mail it or not because it is such a thick card, but it will light up and it does work. So now here's the thing. This little tab, you're gonna need to write that your recipient needs to pull on it. There are stamps that are made to help with cards like this, cards that are interactive, but I don't have those stamps, so I'm just going to write pull right there, and because our switch, you can tell where our switch is. Switch would be right over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to die cut a ghost. It's going to be out of cardstock. We're just going to take one of these scraps of adhesive sheet. And we just need to run it through our die cut machine. I like to stick a bit of washi tape down in order to make sure that my die doesn't fly off the handle. So we're using the Sizzix Sidekick, and it has a little lever. Keep your machine in place while you're cutting. Now we have our little ghost, and we are going to handwrite inside our little ghost that we want you to push on the button. So yeah, that's what we want you to do. We want you to push. And place it right here. Now when your recipient receives the card, they can pull the tab, so that way the mechanism that is the light switch, the battery switch for the light, will turn on, and then they can push, and that's how they will be able to turn it on whenever they want to. So depending on if you are mailing your card or hand delivering it, if you're hand delivering it, you don't need the pull tab. Now that we have our card all put together, I am sure you guys would like to see what exactly it's going to do. So we're going to pull this tab. Just give me a second to get everything ready for us. Okay, so if you pull the tab and you push the button, you get this cool eyeball staring at you and glowing card. So there you go. That's pretty spooky, and I just wanted to let you know that's the end result. So yep, I want to thank y'all for sticking with me to the end of the video. I hope you like what you saw. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and I hope y'all stay safe, stay healthy, stay crafty. Bye.